Hello and welcome to this Board Crazy review for Photosynthesis Under the Moonlight. I am D. I am joined once again by these two.
Wow, don't seem so excited.
Well, I had enough of your stuff.
I'm Graham.
You are Graham.
Nice. Yeah, he's back, everybody. This is what, your fourth video back?
Jeez, I know. They know I'm back.
All right, it's just exciting for me, man. Because I'm Will, everybody. Hi.
I'm not excited, Graham. Don't worry.
Thank you, D.
Gosh.
And Will. Yeah, all right.
Gosh.
So before we actually get to our review here of this expansion for photosynthesis,
I struggle with it too, so.
we're going to run my introduction to it from our gameplay video. If you haven't checked that out yet and don't want to, you'll at least have an understanding of how the game works. This expansion works, more specifically. So, here that goes. Under the Moonlight is an expansion for Photosynthesis, a game for 2 to 4 players designed by Hjalmar Hach and published by Blue Orange Games. Now, this expansion requires the base game and does not alter any of the original rules very much, so if you're unfamiliar with Photosynthesis, I recommend you go check out our playthrough of that game, which should be linked somewhere nearby. For now, though, I will just be explaining the new elements that this expansion adds. There are 3 new modes included here, and as the name of the expansion indicates, they all have to do with the moon. The moon, just like the sun, shines its light at different angles as it rotates around the board. The moon, however, rotates in the opposite direction of the sun and flips back and forth between a half-moon phase and a full moon phase whenever the 2 celestial bodies cross paths. Also, moonlight is usually never blocked by trees, though there is one exception to this, which I'll get to shortly. The main new mode is the Forest Animals mode. To set this up, each player receives 2 animal boards, then chooses one to keep and places a lunar point tracker on the number 2 space on that board. Each player also receives a corresponding meeple, and in reverse player order, these get placed on empty 3-leaf spaces on the main board. During the life cycle phase, players may move their animal meeples 1 space and also use their animal's abilities if they have enough lunar points. Lunar points are collected by being in the path of the moonlight during the photosynthesis phase. Now, each animal comes with its own unique ability or abilities, and these include things like extra movement, moving or planting seeds, or even scaring off other animals. The other 2 modes are the Great Elder Tree and Moonstones. The Great Elder Tree is simply a very tall tree that is placed on any open space during setup and blocks both sunlight and moonlight for all trees behind it. Moonstones, meanwhile, are also placed on open spaces during setup and cast shadows like small trees, but they also reflect moonlight onto all adjacent spaces. The effect from these moonstones can change from one to another should they be adjacent. Finally, in terms of scoring, unused lunar points that a player has at the end of the game are worth 1 point each. Also, if a player is playing as the turtle, they have a potential scoring opportunity, but that's it. The bulk of scoring will still be coming from collecting trees as you do in a standard game of photosynthesis. That's it, though. Let's get started. All right, boys. Photosynthesis.
A game that I will not say the title of once in this video.
Say it, Will.
Nope.
All right, fine. Coward.
So, I believe we played the original so long ago.
It's like 2018, maybe?
Yeah, that I'm not sure we ever did a video review for it. I think it was only in the print version when we had a website. So why don't we start off with just brief thoughts on what you think of the base game sans expansion?
I don't remember my specific thoughts at the time, other than my general my impression of this game is that it's fine. I think it looks great. I'm pretty sure this showed up in our top 10 best looking games that we've played video. I think it's reasonably fun. It's never been like a favorite or anything like that of mine.
Playing it now, it kind of brought back how I felt about the game, and I liked it. I'm similar to D. It's never a game we've gone back to quite a bit to play. But yeah, it looks great, and it's a fun game. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think I was in that B range for me for my score. Again, I think we all agree that it looks really good. I think one of my main complaints, and it's still one of my main complaints, is that the game can be kind of visually challenging because of the height of the trees and see where everything. You'll forget where certain things are. So clutter is a factor.
That's also kind of the charm of it.
Yes, and I also think it plays a little longer than I'd like it to, even at 3 turns. So Other than that, though, I do think it's a very enjoyable game. All right, so now we can talk about the expansions.
Yeah, so the expansion obviously is, it's 3 different modes. The moon is kind of the common factor between all of them. The moon rotates around the board in the opposite direction as the sun, shines moonlight, and this affects the 3 new modes, which are the animals, forest animals, the great elder tree, which Graham is molesting currently, and the moonstones, which we have here.
Yeah, so the moonstones essentially will, when the beams of moonlight hit them, everything adjacent to them gets to the lunar points.
Exactly. The great elder tree blocks moonlight. It's the only thing in the game that blocks moonlight, also blocks sunlight. And then the animals have different abilities that they can use once they've collected enough moonlight to get lunar points.
Yes.
Yeah. And they all have their own unique abilities. So you don't have to use them all at the same time.
Yep.
The animals are like the main one. Obviously, the elder tree and the moonstones. I don't see why you would use them without the animals. I don't think there's any reason you would.
I think you could use the elder tree just as like an extra obstacle to you put it somewhere.
Yeah, the elder tree is an obstacle for sunlight. The moonstones, I think, have no function if the animals aren't in play.
Yeah,
besides just blocking
Yeah.
spaces. That's kind of it. The animals are the only things that really utilize the moon.
Yeah, so I mean, starting with the elder tree, super basic. Essentially, it's just another tree.
Yeah.
But it's always there. It's always blocking everything in its column with moon and sunlight. It's not exactly the kind of thing that you see it and you're like, man, that's a reason to buy this, But it is, the simplest addition to this kind of game to, add a bit of strategy. So that's kind of how I see it. It's literally obtrusive on the board, but like as an addition, it's unobtrusive.
It's a hindrance.
Yeah.
And that's what it's there for.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just something you have to play around pretty much.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's
I
not much to
don't
say
have strong
about it.
feelings on it. It's fine. It does what it's supposed to do, I guess. But I don't know. Does it enhance the game?
I mean, it makes you think more. Does that enhance it? I don't know.
I think with it and the moonstones at the same time, it definitely crowds the board.
Yes.
It definitely feels like you've got less room to maneuver.
It's totally neutral about it. I don't really feel one way or another. It's just kind of there.
Yeah.
And exactly, I wouldn't go out and buy this expansion for the elder tree.
Okay. I mean, the moonstones are also very simple. They reflect sunlight to
Moonlight.
Moonlight. I'm sorry. Yes, to these 6 surrounding spaces, or I guess it doesn't have to be 6. It could be 4 if it's on an edge. But
Yeah, if you didn't use them in conjunction with the animals, then literally all they do is block like one spot of sunlight.
and they cast shadows like small trees do.
Exactly.
So they're again a little bit of an obstruction. I do like them though. When you are, obviously you're going to be using the animals. I like having them with the animals because even though they do take up space and they do cast shadows, I think it can be hard. Most of the animals are not very maneuverable. You can move 1 space per turn, and with the way that the moon rotates around the board, it's hard to. You can't constantly stay in the path of it.
Yeah.
So I think having the moonstones there so that you can, you've got a little bit of extra wiggle room in terms of collecting lunar points.
Yeah.
And I like how that works. And I like also how you, if they're adjacent, it spreads out even further. One can trigger the other, and then you suddenly got a large area that's illuminated.
If we're playing with the expansion, and I would probably either choose the moonstones or the elder tree. I wouldn't play with both. It becomes too cluttered on the board.
Yeah.
Too many obstacles.
Yeah,
it makes it frustrating for me, at least.
Yeah, but clutter is something where, especially because when you start having the boards fill up with trees, it's even hard to see like where your animals are.
Yeah.
And we didn't even get to this, but I guess now's a good time, is the way the moon moves around the board. It's always kind of easy. It's never 100% easy to see what trees are getting sunlight because you have to kind of like move around and whatnot.
Yeah.
But the moon, that is extra hard to orient yourself to see what exactly it's hitting and where it's going. And so when there's a lot of stuff on the board, it can become kind of a nightmare to figure out where everything is and what's getting what.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of the way the moon moves?
It's definitely takes some getting used to.
Yeah.
It's not intuitive. I mean, you have the moon, and you've got the moon tracker, which tells you where it goes next time, and then this moves. And these will flip between full moon and half moon, depending on where they are relative to the sun. When they cross the sun, they'll flip over. Yeah, it's not. I don't know. I mean, maybe we're idiots, but I feel like sometimes, at least the start of the game, it can be kind of confusing. Figuring out exactly how the moon should be, what side it should be on.
It's just because they're moving in opposite directions. It's easy to forget, like, or just make a mistake and move one the wrong way.
Yeah,
and like this board wasn't built for like counting spots and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, so
it's not impossible or anything like that. It's not that hard, but it's not the most elegant.
That's what I'm saying. It's sort of an inelegant way that the moon moves around.
Yeah. But I mean, the main attraction here is the animals.
Yeah, and I do like the way the moon gives the animals points and what those points can do. So why don't we talk about the animals?
Yeah. So there's 8 different animals in the game.
And they're all adorable.
Various woodland creatures. There's nice art on each of them, and they each come with their own unique meeples, which I think are really cool.
Yeah, that is neat.
And they all come with their own abilities. Some, like the beaver and the turtle, they even have their own pieces that get put on the board and whatnot. But most of them, you're using your animal to manipulate seeds and trees for the most part. You're either going to be planting seeds or digging them up or moving them or growing trees or harvesting trees. I had the owl in our playthrough, which converts lunar points into light points, which obviously is useful in its own way. I think, like this is the reason you would buy this expansion if you really like photosynthesis and want a new twist on it. I think this is the best part on offer.
No, I agree because it adds to the cuteness factor. It adds to like the wildlife. The people who play this probably, like the way the game looks like a forest. It adds to that. It adds to the feeling of, it gives the game some more life. I think kids would love it, and I think this is a game that you can play with, young-ish kids, not super young. There's a lot of thinking, but I think if you're someone who already really enjoys photosynthesis,
you probably would enjoy that, at least this part of the expansion. If you're kind of where we were, middle of the road, I wasn't that wild about this. It didn't really, I didn't think it was bad at all. Like you said, I think it adds to the game, but it's not
a game changer.
No, not at all. Just it almost became like I didn't really feel like worrying about and thinking about my animal. I'd rather focus on just the trees and the growing of the trees and stuff like that. So to me, it was more of like a hassle.
It's like busy work.
Busy work. Yeah,
it's more to think about in a game where you already have limited turns to like get everything done. You know?
And it's just like one of those. I think all 3 of us multiple times forgot. Oh, right, our animals.
It does become sort of an afterthought at times, especially once you get into like the flow of the game.
I'm just saying, if we were to sit down and play this again away from a recording, I would not use the animals. I would just want to play the base game.
I think I like the animals a bit more than you do, or at least maybe not all of them are necessarily going to be as equally as interesting. Like playing with the owl, I thought was actually a lot of fun. You might only get at most 2 opportunities to really use it in a given game, but I think having that ability to sort of just in one quick moment spend a bunch of lunar points and suddenly you've got a lot of light points, and now on your turn you can do a whole lot
of stuff.
That was very satisfying to me. So I liked just the extra bit of flexibility, I guess, or or like a backup plan if maybe your trees aren't doing great, but maybe you're doing well with your animal and collecting moonlight.
Yeah, and they're not all created equally. I think the one I used one time, it had like moments of usefulness, but ultimately I feel like with a lot of the animals, you're just kind of thinking like, all right, how am I going to collect enough lunar points to score with them at the end of the game? So you're gonna get to a point like 2/3 of the way through, you're like, I'm not even using its ability anymore. I'm just going to get it up to like 12, 13, 14 lunar points and collect.
Yeah. So I think we'd probably all agree then that this expansion, if you do really love photosynthesis, if you played a lot and you want just a way to sort of spice up the experience after years of playing the same game, this is adequate for those purposes. I think if you are someone like us who doesn't play this game very often, this is probably not going to
get you to play more. It's not
going to play that much more often. And like we said, push comes to shove, we might just rather just play like the base game because it is, like it's still simple and like it's not super simple, but like it's challenging enough and it's long enough, I think, that it doesn't necessarily need
Extra.
more
to it.
to worry
Expansion.
about.
Yeah.
We're not going to score this or anything like that,
No.
but I feel like that pretty much sums up our thoughts on
sure.
Moonlight. So it's fine. All right. So that gonna do it, guys?
That's going to do it.
All right. Thank you for watching this review of Photosynthesis Under the Moonlight. If this was at all useful to you, we hope it was. Give us a thumbs up. Always appreciated. Leave any comments you have if you've played this yourself, if you agree with our opinions on it, if you don't, if you love this, let us know why. We'd love to hear from you. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when the videos come out, and social media is down below in the description if you want to follow us on those. But
That's it.
that's it for now. Thank you for watching again. Till next time. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, we'll see you next time.